We're live in the Santan Valley. Tom D. Camillo along with Joe Carreiro, and this is CAClive, and I'm back in the studio after a hiatus last week. I know you had Dan Bush on here in the studio, Joe, last week. I was in the Philadelphia area, and let me tell you what I did. I went back and I went to a bunch of games, and I saw a bunch of friends, and I went to an awards banquet on Saturday night.
Rough time.
But the big thing is I shipped 2 boxes of Tasty Cakes back to Arizona.
Can you? What is a Tasty Cake?
It's indigenous to the Philadelphia area. It's they're cupcakes, butterscotch crimpets, tandy cakes with chocolate and peanut butter.
I can't wait to have a couple. I'm sure you brought some in, huh?
I have them out in my car baking.
Oh, good, good.
But it's a very iconic Philadelphia thing. Like cheesesteaks and salt pretzels. It's a very, and funny that somebody said you can saw them in the Walmart here. Sometimes they run specialty ones. They're not so good, but they have these kind of standard. Some of the big baking companies around the country have a hard time getting into the Philadelphia market because these are so entrenched. So, Joe, I will bring them to the studio next week. I actually did forget to bring yours, but you got to tell me what kind you like. There's chocolate and different kinds. So we'll
I don't like stuff like that.
No, I didn't think you did at all. So, but it's good to be back, and we just had our 1-year anniversary last week of, and I wasn't able to do the show. Dan Bush did it,
and it's amazing. I didn't even tell anyone about the ring you got me, but I want to thank you.
Why don't you show off that ring that I got you?
Yeah, right here.
I put in a quarter in the gumball machine and it popped out. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, Tom, for our anniversary gift there. I'll treasure it.
So we are we are live in the Santan Valley. This is CAClive. Tom D. Camillo, Joe Carreiro, and it's been a terrific year. A lot of people have learned more about Central Arizona College. We get phone calls from all over the nation. And today we'll take some more of your phone calls. But we have a really neat guest with us today. He was a longtime professor at Central Arizona College by the name of Jeff Ross. And Jeff is well-rounded. Jeff is an author. He's a professor. He's a musician. He wrote a book called College Leadership Crisis, The Philip Donnelly Affair. I'm going to hold it up here. And we're going to talk about this. Let me get this right there so people can see it.
The neatest part of this show is we have a goal. And our goal is to take this book to the top of the New York Times bestseller list.
Let's go.
So let's see what we can do today.
And we're going to talk a little bit about this book and also about the music that Jeff Ross and his band, and they're going to be playing. Let me drop this down. I always get this when I'm trying to look at the camera. Okay, I got to go down.
It's just right there.
Right, and then I go this way. I got to go opposite way because I'm sitting opposite. So, and then there's the band. And the CD.
Looks like some people playing ball there.
Leatherneck football back in the day.
Gotcha.
So the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse that's back in that day. And Jeff is going to be playing with his band when we do the CAC Under the Stars event at the Superstition Mountain campus 2 weeks from tomorrow. That will be at the Superstition Mountain campus grand opening on September 28th. It's a Friday night. It'll go from we're going to get started about 6 o'clock and go till about 9 o'clock. It's open to the community. We're going to have a lot of fun showing off the campus. There'll be plenty of astronomy night type of events that are going to be going on, and also people are going to get a chance to get inside the new building and some of the retrofitted older buildings to take a look at what's transpired. The new building is fantastic. And Jeff, we welcome you to the program. And you were at CAC for 30 years and spent a lot of those years up in Apache Junction at the Superstition Mountain campus.
30 years. He just told me he was 32. And I believed him. See that?
Well, let's talk a little bit about what at CAC. What was your role at Central Arizona College?
Well, I started back at CAC at the Signal Peak campus. I believe it was actually in December of '78. I had just completed my master's degree, and I found some work tutoring. And as it turns out, I became involved with a special services program, the Title IV program, and became the assistant of that project, and then eventually the director later on in about the spring of '80 of the program. So I was associated with that at Signal Peak until 1985. At that time, I also taught a class or two each semester in the evenings as an adjunct English professor. And then in 1985, the college made its full-time commitment to Apache Junction, and I was fortunate enough to get a full-time teaching position in AJ. for the fall of '85, and then that's where I continued my full-time career until 2009.
Let's talk about that when it started in 1985, because we are coming up basically a massive revamping of the college has taken place. Brand new building, the older building's got a really a new facelift. The really interesting part is that connection between the new building and the old buildings, the green area, where before it was really kind of the back of a storefront,
right.
Really, when you run along the back. What was that facility when you first started?
Well, and I've got to say, the college planners and the architects did a terrific job on the renovations of the new building. It's magnificent. We had been renting some rooms at the Grand Center Hotel, which is kind of at that wide junction where the road veers off to Canyon Lake or heads east past, the Old West Highway.
Is it across the street from where the campus is now?
It's about a half mile west of there.
It's like off of Phelps and Apache Trail, right there.
But that's all gone now. That was
it's gone now, huh?
That's gone. But
wow.
we had 4 classrooms rented there and a few offices, and I think we were there for about 2 years, and then we rented the rooms where the current campus is located now. Now, at the time, we had a few rooms. We shared area with an RV repair facility and a dry cleaner. And every once in a while, there'd be a cloud of gas burp out. Burp. Not sure what it was. Steam, I guess.
Did you get people in RVs like stopping and getting repairs and getting their dry cleaning done and taking a class?
Taking a class at the same time. But earlier on, I just real quick, back in the late '70s, the CAC presence in Apache Junction was a modular or a mobile home just offside the high school campus, and that was it. They taught a few classes in the evening at the high school and had continuing ed. But then, as time went on, in '85, that the campus in '86, '87 improved, and several of the deans there, like Joanna Miklich, helped with building renovation, the teaching learning center, and things of that nature. But it pretty much stayed the same until the bond was passed in 2008.
So when you look at the campus now, or at least back then, the facilities that you saw that CAC has used for years, part of it is being used for classrooms, part of it is being used for retail or service kind of industry. And when you look at building up a credibility of a college and people saying I want to go there, you guys, it's a testimony to you guys that you really worked hard, because that's got to be a challenge to say, hey, you're taking classes next to a dry cleaner, come, but then look what's happened over 30 years.
Well, we always felt like we were providing a good quality learning experience for our students and the community, and I firmly believe we did. But now the community is very fortunate to have a continued quality experience and some great facilities. When I walk through the new building in the evening, it has a real university campus feel.
It does.
It's just altogether different, and I'm very excited to still be part of it, at least on a part-time basis, and to see the growth and the excitement.
What was it like in Apache Junction at that time when you're talking in the mid-'80s, before obviously all the growth hit around the areas, and trying to lure students to come there? What was the atmosphere like? Were you making the connection with the city right on, or did that take a lot of work?
It was a much slower time. There's no doubt about that. I think we were very excited when the freeway came out to Power Road.
So then there's no 60 at that point.
We were very excited.
I remember that. That was exciting.
That was exciting. We always had a very good relationship with the schools and the community. But at that time, a lot of times we were happy to have 9 or 10 students in a class. We worked hard to make things make. We worked very closely with community leaders, the library, different organizations like Rotary, the Rock and Gym Club. I mean, there's numerous, too many to mention. But like I said earlier, we tried very hard to give people a college experience, even with the limited facilities we were able to support at that time.
Now you fast forward to 2012, and you've opened this majestic building that it's beyond just, it does have a university feel to it.
It really does.
And it really, when you look at it, it's just a whole different experience So, as an employee that has spent your career there, and I know, off the air we were talking a little bit about it. What kind of impact? Can you put it into words?
Well, I had always we had hoped to have a facility in the time I worked there full time, but there was a lot of good things done at Signal Peak. There was some renovations done there, and I just have to say I have a real sense of contentment. I don't know what else to say that this has come to fruition now, and the people of Apache Junction, the students, have this great facility. I don't know. It's kind of like, the missionary who leaves says my work has been done here or something like that. I'm not a missionary. But I just have this really good feeling about being on the campus and the future of the college. And I'm just really pleased that it's come about.
When you're walking around the campus now, do you see a change in atmosphere?
It's very positive. It's exciting. I know I walk through the building and you see students in the evening working on their laptops, enjoying a coffee by the snack bar. It's very spacious. It's very open. The architecture is it's beyond state of the art, But you just have this feeling that great things are going to happen and continue to happen. And it really has meshed what I think is that quality educational experience with just that ambiance of what higher learning feels like nowadays.
How important is that, do you think, for marketing a college to have a facility like that to draw people?
Well, I think it's kind of that field of dreams concept,
I've been there.
Sports, You've been there, but if you build it, they will come, and I really sense that now. It's gonna change the far east side of the valley. It's gonna change it in a very positive, exciting way.
You look at the simple thing. When people would enter the campus, most of the time it was off Old West Highway. And admittedly, a little bit of a challenge with the steep hill because it's the way that's the grade of the land is there. And now you close those off and you come in on Broadway and you have this huge stainless steel sign and the building. It's the whole front door has changed. It just gives a different climate to the whole area.
All right. I really feel like when you've got your own stoplight and turn it into college,
you've made it.
And a speed bump here. But one of the things that I really like, I know I went to a junior high in Casa Grande when I was much younger, and one of the things we always hoped for was a field of grass. And now we have that beautiful lawn in between the older part of the campus and the new building, and I was kind of touched by that. It's like a dream of mine I had from my youth to be around a school that had a nice lawn, much like the green down at Signal Peak,
Well, you're going to have the opportunity to play on that green.
Right.
And does that excite you to be able to come out there and do that?
Sure. I'm really excited about that.
Let's talk about your music for a little bit. How did you get involved with music? And you've been playing a lot of years, doing a lot of different venues.
Well, yes, some I'll talk about and some I won't. But no, like a lot of guys in college in the 70s, I tried to play, and I played guitar and electric guitar and that stuff. And then I was always fortunate, at Signal Peak, some of my students were pretty good musicians, and I had opportunities to play with some of them at fundraisers or student events and things of this nature, and kind of hone my craft. I played guitar for a while. I was in a motorcycle accident in the mid 90s, and it kind of changed my career. I took up the bass after that, and I wish I would have learned to play bass earlier. I tell my son, if you want to always find a gig, learn to play bass. But I've played, original rock music with my various bands. My co-author, I still play drums with, Jan Contento. He's quite an accomplished drummer. My brother-in-law, Jamie Segal, is an accomplished musician. I played with David Forrester, who's from Apache Junction. Mike Carroll, one of my former students, accomplished bassist and vocalist. But we've played different kinds of things, from original music to cover projects and blues bands. With Dave Forrester and Jan, we've played a lot of rockabilly music, and currently we've done quite a bit of that in the Apache Junction area at concerts in the parks. But I still like playing the original music. I'm getting a little old to to go on American Idol. But We have a real good time, and music has been a big part of my life, and just the creative aspect of being able to play is you just can't downplay that in life. And I know you folks here at CAClive have been real good about promoting new musicians and different kinds of bands, and the college has this terrific new program now, the recording industry program with Professor Bush, and you got to keep playing. But I've had a great career, and I'm not done yet. That's what I'd say.
When you look at a program like the Entertainment Industry Technology program at CAC, as a student, when you were in college, would you have gravitated toward that? I guess that's a question I'll need to ask.
I probably would have been right on. My niece Lauren is over at California Institute of the Arts right now, learning to be a theater production person. And, of course, they have a music program over there. But the fact that CAC has such a thing on a local level, I mean, I would have been enrolled in that. I may have never become an English teacher, come to think of it. But there's so much to learn about music now, besides the technical aspects, the digital ends of it, the record, just all the hardware and sound system changes associated with it, as well as recording. And I think one of the things that the CAC program is going to do a real good job at is getting into the contract, legal ends, promotional, media saturation aspects, which I wish I've learned a lot of this on my own, but I wish I would have known it 20, 30 years ago.
When you hear musicians that 60s and 70s, professional ones, bands like Boston and John Fogerty and Billy Joel, and the issues that they've had with music rights and getting into contracts. When you were young and playing and deciding, hey, maybe I want to do that, you probably did you have any idea about that? Or was the music industry just so new you just were interested in playing?
No, we just wanted to play. And, of course, nowadays, the proliferation of internet and the media and the availability of music everywhere, it's just an altogether different animal.
Somebody told me just the other day that was in here, a musician, I don't remember who it was. They told me that musicians and artists do not make any money selling disc CDs anymore. I mean, a really top-selling, unbelievable, when it used to be they'd sell 20 million copies or whatever and go platinum. A really great one now will sell 50,000. The only money's in touring because of the internet.
Or the clothing we wear, like our Moondogs
right,
clothing
like your clothing line. And you can pick one of those up at.
Email me. I'm not
sure. Let's see the clothing line again.
It's the Moondogs, Jan and the Moondogs logo here. It's from our rockabilly band.
So, what are some of the influence that you guys? I think of rockabilly in the '80s. What I was exposed was like Stray Cats.
Right. Well, it's say what you want. There's some people like Elvis, and I mean the younger Elvis. Like Hound Dog and the Carl Perkins songs he did, and Carl Perkins himself, the songs like Matchbox, and just that. I've always liked that three-piece look. With the bass, guitar, and drums, there's a kind of a musical nudity. Where you're just standing out there facing the world, and it's got kind of a raw, primitive quality. And if you pull it off right, you sound great. Of course, if you don't pull it off, you don't. But I would have to say, people such as that, the three-piece bands have always had influence on me. The like Joe Walsh and James Gang and that kind of thing. I've always liked that. I've always wished I had that kind of ability. But Cream, Eric Clapton and Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce, Jimi Hendrix, I've always wondered why couldn't I have
Sounds like
bass?
you fit in here. That's what we do about every night.
I listened to that one show.
It's so then when you play at the CAC opening, that's the kind of music you'll be playing, or you do a mix of things?
We'll be doing a mix of things. We'll probably have. I haven't quite got this produced yet in my mind, but we'll have a couple different projects or looks going, and there'll be some classic rock and blues and some rockabilly also, and it'll be good. It'll be fun.
When you talked about that you'd like to do your original stuff, and do you write the songs?
I used to write quite a few songs. That part I've kind of slowed down on that since I've made the literary aspect of it, but. We had a couple of CDs we produced in the late 90s. We were playing at some places like the Mason Jar and the Big Fish Pub. I always tried to crack that Mill Avenue circuit, but we just couldn't quite do it. I think like the Gin Blossoms were always my.
I remember that he wrote the songs that made the young girls cry.
Yeah, right. That's me. So, but I do enjoy writing songs. Like I like that idea. I like writing poetry, and I guess if I have any legacy, well, that's to be seen. But I'd like to be known as a poet as much as anything, as much as a novelist or a musician. But I think, like I don't know if you want to segue into the book or not, but there's several song lyrics from songs we've written that are in the book. We printed them as published, and they convey certain feelings and attitudes we felt were appropriate. So
we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to get into what the Philip Donnelly affair is all about. You're listening to CAC Live on KQCK in the Santan Valley.
Bocce Italian Bistro of Arizona is the best-kept secret this side of Italy, located in southeast Mesa between Hawes and Ellsworth Road on Germain. For authentic family-cooked Italian cuisine, come and savor delicious dishes made from the freshest ingredients. We promise to deliver a true Italian family dining experience. Open for lunch Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. with all new $3.95 lunch specials, including our world-famous meatball and sausage sandwiches. Or indulge in one of our Frank the Godfather special sandwiches today. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday open from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come and experience true Italian perfection. Bocce's Italian Bistro. Visit the website bocceitalianbistro.com. That's BACIITALIANBISTRO.com. Located at 8830 East Germain Road in Mesa. You deserve the best.
Are you experiencing computer problems? Is your computer running slow, bogged down with viruses and spyware? You need a reliable and knowledgeable, trustworthy computer service company. Contact Computers, Networks, and More, located in Santan Valley. Get your computer or laptop running in top condition by a certified technician with 20-plus years experience and beta tester from Microsoft. Computers, Networks, and More provides repairs and solutions to any computer-related issue, whether it's software, installation, troubleshooting, updates, or tune-ups. You can trust Computers, Networks, and More. Contact Jeff Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to schedule an appointment. We can have you up and running quickly, usually within 48 hours. Located in Santan Valley. Computers, Networks, and More. We're here for you. Contact Jeff at 480-729-8899. That's 480-729-8899. Announcing Mesa Luxury Living Magazine, bringing luxury to everyday life. Need to capture clientele with discriminating taste? Have something amazing to feature? Call us today, 480-671-8000, or find our link on KQCK's homepage, 480-671-8000, MesaLuxuryLiving.com. Are you experiencing computer problems? Is your computer running slow, bogged down with viruses and spyware? You need a reliable and knowledgeable, trustworthy computer service company. Contact Computers, Networks, and More, located in Santan Valley. Get your computer or laptop running in top condition by a certified technician with 20-plus years experience and beta tester from Microsoft. Computers, Networks, and More provides repairs and solutions to any computer-related issue, whether it's software, installation, troubleshooting, updates, or tune-ups. You can trust Computers, Networks, and More. Contact Jeff Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to schedule an appointment. We can have you up and running quickly, usually within 48 hours. Located in Santan Valley. Computers, Networks, and More. We're here for you. Contact Jeff at 480-729-8899. That's 480-729-8899. Our family pets are such a big part of our lives. That's why Kelly's Critter Clips of Queen Creek and Sun Lakes has been providing pet grooming services for over 10 years. Your dog's comfort is very important to us, so we take the time to treat your pet with care, love, and professional attention it deserves. We welcome any size and breed and feature shampoo and conditioning, styling, flea and tick dips, ear cleaning, nail trimming, and so many other services that will leave your pet looking good and smelling good and feeling great, all at an affordable price. Located in Queen Creek and Sun Lakes, call now for an appointment, 480-655-5066. Kelly's Critter Clips.
I always feel like I'm going to get bit by that dog every
Yeah,
time I
right.
come back from that commercial. Tom DiCamillo along with Joe Carreiro. We are live in the KQCK studios in the Santan Valley. Joining us is Jeff Ross, longtime professor at the Central Arizona College. At the college, started his career at the Signal Peak campus, but spent majority of it at the Superstition Mountain campus. And we're talking about the history of CAC and SMC, and then also about his musical career and playing. And they're going to be, him and his band are going to be playing at the Superstition Mountain grand reopening on September 27th. It's Friday night. And then also we wanted to talk about, and this is really interesting. I'm going to put it up again. It's a book that Jeff and Jan Contento, is that how you say his name?
Jan Contento. Huh?
And he's one of your musical partners.
Yep. Good friend, you bet.
It's called The College Leadership Crisis, The Philip Donnelly Affair. And it's a comic, satiric, and richly descriptive. It's a humorous and sometimes biting analysis of community college culture. And, explain what the book is about.
I'll try. We only have 30 minutes. Well, there's a genre of novel called a campus or academic or university novel, and there are some great ones. Straight Man is one, Faculty Tower is another, maybe Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy is another, but they're books that deal with a university experience, and a lot of times they have fun with the faculty, administration, students, romances, and that things. Well, there haven't really been a number of community college novels written. I've written a few op-eds over the years for things, websites like Inside Higher Ed, Times Higher Ed, Community College Spotlight, Magna Pubs, publications like Academic Leader, where I just voice some opinions about the community college workplace or the way things are changing. And Jan, my co-author, thought it might be fun to take some of our opinions and our ideas about community colleges, have some fun with it, and create a work of fiction, a campus novel. And so we took off on that idea, and over a year we put together our book, and it's based around a fictional community college, Copperfield Community, which is located in North New Mexico. not northern New Mexico, North New Mexico. And it's about the rise and the fall of a community college president who butts heads, so to speak, with the local community over the college's direction and the stakeholders' interests. And he has to deal with a group called the Movement to Reform Community Colleges Now, which on one level is a book discussion group, but they've got his number and they want him out, you know.
It starts as a book discussion group and becomes a political action committee.
Right. They start reading
awesome.
the Communist Manifesto or something, and they decide they don't like him. But he comes and goes, but at the end he's found peace. He's found great peace and satisfaction. He's living above a hardware store in North Dakota eating donuts or something. But that's one of the, but anyway, along the way we have representative character sketches of faculty and staff and students. We have a little fun with athletic teams in here. You know, one of the coaches has got to get a football player eligible. He's got to find a way to get this kid in, you know. And, but it's, you know, we use it to work out some of the bigger themes as well. It's not serious by any means, but, you know, the whole notion of whether community colleges should be in the business of transfer ed or workforce development. We work on that. We work on issues the students confront. We have 3 or 4 student character sketches. We have one fellow. In fact, could I read just a little?
Sure.
Just a little bit. We have one character. His name is Laptop Dave, and let me just read a couple paragraphs. I don't want to.
While you're looking for that, we have 2 questions from the audience.
Sure.
And Joe, why don't you?
Al from Phoenix says, "Where can I get a copy?"
Okay, this book is it's available in ebook form for your Kindle or your Nook. You can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble if you just Google in that, or you can go to our publisher's website and order one at Rogue Phoenix Press. Rogue Phoenix Press. They're in Salem, Oregon, but you can order a book from there. We have a few books. There's some copies at the Book Rack up at Signal Butte and Baseline, but I'm not sure if they're still available. But you can order it from Rogue Phoenix Press. If you just Google that in. If you Google in Philip Dolly Affair print edition, it'll come right up.
Don't go to Borders or any of those big book places, because when they go in, they're gone within a half hour. And they only deliver 2,000 copies there. So,
right.
I mean, they're gone in 20 minutes. So,
right. But it's easy to find an e-version, and you'll get it about a week if you order it from the publisher.
Nice. And that's Rogue Phoenix Press.
Right. ROGUE Phoenix Press. They're in Salem, Oregon. Christine and Arlo Young are publishers. Great people to work with.
And the name of the book is, in case you're listening, not watching.
Yes, it's The Philip Dolly Affair.
Yeah, I think I
That
said
sounds
Philip,
like a good movie.
Yeah, I think I said Philip Donnelly, but I
Yeah.
think I'm thinking Thomas.
Oh,
Right?
You're-
Did you model that after?
Yeah.
Are you in sports mode again, Tom?
I am in sport. There is a
it's,
Philip Dolly Affair.
It's The Philip Dolly, Dolly Affair, and there are numerous comments, blogs, reviews. There's some Amazon reviews
Nice.
you can read.
Nice.
There's tons of stuff up there.
By the way, Sandra from Mesa also called in and said, "Sounds like a college I used to go to. I'll say no more. Where can I get a copy?" So we know,
Yeah.
we know that
So you're getting a
Phoenix
follow-up.
Rogue Press.
It's great.
And if somebody decides they want to send it to you, you'd sign it for them. Jeff.
Yeah. You know, we have a Facebook page also. It's the Philip Dolly. Philip Dolly Facebook, and there's some contact information on there. And you can also, there's a link there where you can read an excerpt. There's an Amazon link where you can read an excerpt, too. Sure.
So we're visiting with Jeff Ross, who wrote The Philip Dolly Affair along with Jan Contento, and it's a college leadership crisis. And we're going to get a passage out of the book to give you an idea of this satirical work that these two gentlemen have done.
Right. So this is about Laptop Dave, student, and I'll make this quick. But Laptop Dave could be seen at the campus Moonbucks, or on a
Getting a cappuccino?
right.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, or on a patio or on a bench nearly every day at CCC. He always had his laptop and a Bible with him, and a cup of Moonbucks Supremo iced coffee. No one knew for sure if Laptop Dave was enrolled in any courses. Rumor had it that he was a preacher or a musician or maybe a politician of some kind. His car had several dents and was without hubcaps. The tires looked iffy, but the interior was clean. Dean Presson and Elena Vasquez, when walking and talking together, always greeted Laptop Dave, and he always cheerfully and graciously acknowledged them. Such a nice student, cooed Elena. Laptop Dave, a man of great patience, has 5 daughters. All young women now, all beautiful and intelligent. 7 or 8 presidents at CCC have made inquiries about Laptop Dave's identity and purpose. Laptop Dave has outlasted them all.
7 or 8 presidents.
That's a real quick read.
Are there? It's funny because when you said that, I started thinking that it's not just community colleges, but there seems to be these sort of urban legend, iconic individuals that are part of institutions that they're there, and sometimes people don't know where they came from.
Well, one of our friends who read the book sent Jan an email, and he said, I knew that guy at ASU. He was wearing a straw hat and carried a guitar. So you're right. And we try to capture that kind of feel of this student, just the campus life, and we try to make it community college-like, but I'll guarantee you there's a lot of university feel to this, too.
There's I went back to my alma mater last week, as I talked about, and went to a football game, a college game, and I'd worked there 16 years in the athletic department, and I've been gone 6 years. And I looked down at the game, and there was Superfan, and nobody really knows him. And he'd been coming for 10 years when I was there. He's got this whole gear that he's made himself with like a cape, and he comes out of the city, gets on a bus, and every time people have tried to talk to him, he kind of doesn't want to talk. And even the athletic director said, I just now give him, when I get a chance, I give him a pass to come to all the games. Yeah. It's been coming from us 2 decades, but nobody know, and it's just an urban legend that shows up at these games.
But that's part of the college experience.
It is.
It is. And that's one of the things that these so-called campus novels really try to capture is that feel, the fun, the things that we enjoy. and noticed, but it's not really publicized.
By the opening statement, if I was a president, I might be afraid to start a book discussion club after reading this book.
That's okay. That's okay.
So why did you decide to write this book?
Well, like I said, we'd written some op-eds about professionalism in the workplace, things about the nature of the community college experience, and we thought it might be fun to try to put it into fiction. I'm trying to say, so we could create kind of a comic relief about a lot of the issues that people deal with. For example, the whole corporate management situation we're involved with now. It's not any one community college. One of the things that I really want to, I guess, make clear, but we want this book to be literary and fun. We have a lot of symbolism. We have political intrigue. I'm trying to say we have settings that are interesting, symbolism and all this. But we use that to kind of convey some of these ideas and thoughts we have about ways to make the community college experience better in our own view. And it's basically an attempt on our part to give kind of a fictive voice to some things that could be improved in the community college experience or the higher ed experience. But it's in such a way that there's a lot of whispered truths about American work. And I think that movie I was talking to Joe about earlier, Office Space, you kind of see that where it's man butting up against the machine. The consultants and the corporate policies, sometimes the little man feels ground out or unable to have his voice heard. Remember the red stapler guy in Office? We don't have him in here.
No red stapler guy?
But we tried to work on some of those ideas like that. And the middle section of this is set in Argentina. There's some political intrigue as well, and we try to work in significant American events, the JFK assassination, the CIA, plausible explanations, horse racing, but there are a lot of things like that. So we weave in an actual narrative tale that has a resolution besides having just kind of comic relief with community college daily life.
It's fascinating. We're talking with Jeff Ross and his book, The Philip Dolly Affair, and the phone's ringing off the hook, Joe. Looks like you got some questions.
We've got a cult following going on here.
All right.
Let's see. Let's start with the second caller first here. Mert from St. John's says, is Jack Frost an autobiographical character? And most important of all, he wants to know about the janitor's shoes. What is the significance of the janitor's shoes?
So you got a following out there.
Mert, are you still riding your Harley? Well, Jack Frost is he's kind of a moody Spanish instructor. And there are some romances in this book, too. And Jack kind of has a crush on one of the speech professors in the book. No, Jack Frost is not autobiographical. Some might think that you may recognize Jack Frost, but Jack Frost is a poet. He likes to wander by streams. He wears janitor shoes to work. I think that's what Mert is referring to.
Right.
He's kind of scruffy looking. He rides a motorcycle and has a backpack, and his own romantic life has not been happy, and he's always hoped for something with Julia Flowers, the speech communications professor. But I might add, there may be some resolution to the romance towards the end of the book. Something may happen.
So the characters and the backdrop, while you have these sort of serious challenges that community colleges face, the characters and the settings are really an amalgamation of events, and there's no real people in there. There might be elements that you've picked up over the career of dealing with community colleges. But
Right. And like I've said, most of the people we know who work at community colleges think that this book is about their campus.
Well, that meant you hit a chord then. If that's what they feel,
That's what they feel.
You've really struck a chord then with people.
Right.
And captured interest.
Let's take care of Penny here from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She says, I am on Amazon and can't find it, looking everywhere. How do I find it? Now, I'm thinking, and I thought of this when we said it, because she's probably not watching, she's probably listening. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways to spell Philip and Dolly. So
you want me to spell it out
yes,
for that? Yeah.
Spell it out.
Philip, Philip, and then Dolly, Dolly, affair. So they just put in the Philip Dolly affair.
Not two L's on the Philip there. And Dolly with a Y, Affair. And make sure you buy multiple copies because, from what I understand, these are the hot thing for Christmas gifts this year.
Right, yeah. You know, if you, I was just thinking, if you Google in my name, Jeffrey Ross, I'm not the comedian. There's a comedian, Jeffrey Ross, you know, the Roastmaster General. I'm not that fellow. But if you Google in Jeffrey Ross and then satire or campus novel, there'll be a number of links come up. But it's PHILIP Dolly, DOLLY.
So Penny out there in Tulsa, don't give up. You will find it. And thank you for calling in from out there, Tulsa, Oklahoma, wanting to get a copy of the Philip Dolly
It's Philip
Affair.
Our first call from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Nice.
So that's nice. We appreciate you listening. How long did it take you to write this book?
You know, it took us about a year to write it. We started writing. I wrote a sketch-up of a career counselor, and Jan liked that. And then we had, I have to tell you, that if you want, you know, I was just thinking about this, just popped into my head. I wrote an opinion piece for Inside Higher Ed back in 2008 called Call Me Phil. Call Me Phil. And actually, that's on InsideHigherEd.com. And that was published in 2008. And actually, we spun this off after that 2,000-word piece. Phil Dolly, in that brief thing, that's like a short story, was sitting in this lounge, gazing at himself in the window, trying to find out why the Board of Governors let him go. And he was a deposed community college president. At the end of that story, he's going to find a new job, and that's what happens in the Philip Dolly affair. He finds a new job and moves on. But that initial little views piece on Inside Higher Ed was kind of the catalyst for it.
It's almost like in a television show they do, what do they call them when they do like a 30-minute sort of preview for the
trailer or something like that.
Trailer
Yeah.
or kind of like a series opener. They screen test or whatever. They give it an opportunity to see if the characters. So when you wrote that piece, when you write things, did the character start to fascinate you that you wanted to expand into a larger?
Well, a couple of and you can still, like I said, you can still see this. A couple of the comments, the Inside Higher Ed has comments after these pieces, and they said, you ought to turn this into a book. And I didn't really think about that for a year or two. And then in about 2010, we like I say, we took that year and started working on it. So then the characters just kind of just started oozing out of me. Salinas Chick, the boring art and history instructor. Coach Ski, the defensive coach for the football team. He wears a Sansa belt gear, and Father John, the adjunct world religions teacher. But all these characters are just kind of an amalgamation or of all these people that I've dealt with in my life. And their view is positive by and large. It's a positive book. It just, it's funny.
You're listening to CAC Live. I'm Tom DeCamillo along with Joe Carreiro. We're talking with Jeff Ross, and I believe we got another call.
You're going to like this one, Tom. Kauai, Hawaii.
Wow. Kauai.
Not bad, huh? Yeah. Judy Winston would like to know. She has an 8th grade son who loves to read. Is this going to be something that he would be interested in, or is it too adult, too deep, or you think this is...
Well, I don't think it's too deep. There's a lot of, it's real clean.
I think that's what she was getting
right.
at.
We worked really hard to make this G. This is a G. Sometimes we'll have like a cuss word or something. We'll have like, what the H ... or X. Well, there's very little of that, I don't know if he'd be interested in it. My son's 11, and he's read the part on McDougal, the socialist bartender, and he thinks that's kind of funny. But he might enjoy reading it. There's a glossary in the back that helps with some of the terms, but it's kind of funny too, So if he's an eighth grader.
8th grade.
Yeah, if he's been around schools.
8th graders are pretty smart these days.
Yeah, I would just advise her maybe to go read that excerpt on Amazon and see if she thinks it's something he'd be interested in. There's a 15-page excerpt you can read there.
I imagine that people that work at community colleges that then pick this up would really get a perspective, or students that have just finished going through a community college or had gone in recent times that pick this up and read it, that would find it fascinating.
Well, I hope so. But like I've said, we are Jan and I are real firm believers in the community college movement, the community college experiment. We've done so much good for students. We have some recommendations kind of embedded in the book about how to improve things. But all our views are never about the individuals who work there. It's the system. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's what if there's any policy things, like we'd really like to see the notion of stewardship kind of take a hold again in community colleges. You know, being good stewards of the community trust. Not that we're not. I'm not saying that. But to always look out for the needs of the community at the forefront of our thinking.
How have community colleges changed during your career?
Well, like everyone else, we've had to become a lot more accountable. You know what I'm trying to say? I remember in the old days, back in the olden times, in the 80s, you know, when Prince was making music, if some students wanted a class, we'd throw together a 280. You know, a 280, take a matter of hours, we'd have a class, and they'd enroll in it. We'd read a few books and have fun and go home. But now, you know, there are curriculum articulation issues, accreditation issues. The whole system has become much more complicated, like American life has. You know, I think the notion of articulation with the universities has become a lot more complicated, and the whole business of community college purpose, you know, that two sides of the house thing, whether we're academic transfer or workforce training oriented, has become another big issue. Funds have dried up or become increasingly hard to come by. We have a lot tougher decisions we have to make. That's part of what we work on in the book as well.
Joe, to the phones.
Les from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He said, I'm also a professor. I'm ordering a copy immediately, and if I send it to you, will you sign it and send it back?
Oh, sure.
I will send a money order for the postage.
He doesn't have to.
And he said, thank you.
Oh, you're sure welcome.
He wants to share it with his class.
Oh,
so
terrific. You know,
where would they send it?
Yeah, you know, if you're interested, why don't I just...
I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Where would he send it? Yeah, right.
You know, could I give my email
yes,
address?
Yes, please.
Yeah. That might be a good thing to do. Itching my nose here. Excuse me, Joe.
That wasn't the signal.
My email address is slipdoc. That's one word, SLIPDOC, slipdoc, at cox.net.
And that's cox.net.
Slipdoc at cox.net. But there's also, you know, if you go to the Facebook Phil Dolly page, you can contact us through there. There's another email. It's the Philip Dolly Affair, one word, Philip Dolly Affair at yahoo.com.
And by the way, Tom, I wasn't trying to be funny. I don't know if Cox is nationwide. So.
Right. Oh no, it's no. That's good because there's sections of the East Coast that actually don't have that. So, but that would be great if you're interested to email Jeff at that. Give that email address again.
Which one?
Slipdoc.
Slipdoc.
Yeah.
Slipdoc at cox.net, and that's SLIPDOC at cox.net.
Right. And you can have talk to Jeff and about the book, and that's great. We're getting calls from professors. It really is
that's pretty cool.
It is
really
cool.
I appreciate it very much, the fact that our listening audience is showing an interest in this, and I certainly appreciate the two of you having me on today as well.
Was it hard to write a book with a co-author?
You know, that's a good question. Jan and I have written several, like I said, these op-eds or articles together over the years, and I would say some people have asked, you know, who did what in the book. We pretty much shared the writing responsibilities. He's a researcher more than I am. Like I say, I'm a poet, or I'd like to be, and he's a researcher. He writes very well, does a lot of report writing and things of this nature. But we did a very good job of sharing drafts, sharing ideas. Email is very helpful, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know. But I would say, by and large, it was good having two heads on this project to work. And like I say, we're friends, and we've done creative projects with music and things, so it seemed to be kind of a natural situation.
I know that one of the challenges when you write and when I write, it would be hard for me to write with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And when I edit somebody else and do a lot of editing, I need to be careful not to change what they're trying to do into my voice.
Yes.
And that's a big, big challenge because there's things the way I see it,
Right.
and I'm reading it. And it's hard when somebody else is editing, but I know for myself that's very difficult. So how do you get that voice to sound the same?
Right. Well, and that is a problem. I think as we went through the last 2 or 3 drafts, we made a real concentrated effort to give it that one voice sense. You know, it takes a lot of work, and you're on to something there, making sure that the sentence structure is similar. You know, the phrasings, the idiom feels the same way.
Because there's a certain style we all have,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a big challenge. We got another phone call.
Now, don't get a big head here, Tom. Betty Lou from Anchorage says, it's my birthday today. It's my 27th birthday. And can myself and DJ Tom do a shout-out to me today. I love you guys.
And
Aw.
it's, what is it, Betty from?
Anchorage,
Did you
Alaska.
say Betty Lou from?
Betty Lou.
Betty Lou from Anchorage, Alaska.
And we love you. I know I do. I love you, Betty Lou.
Betty, we appreciate you listening. And what's the weather like in Anchorage, Alaska this time
Yeah,
of
no
the year?
kidding,
Is it
huh?
nice? Does it start to get cold
Isn't it like
already?
the opposite here? Isn't it now would be coming into summer?
No. We're
I
still
don't
in
know.
North America, Joe.
Oh, is it?
Still America.
They don't have all
All right, fine.
But Betty Lou, we really appreciate you listening. And if you ever get down to Arizona, stop into Central Arizona College. Happy birthday.
And if you ever
That's
come down to
terrific.
Arizona, we got plenty of room in the guest house here. You can stay right here at a property.
And there'll be a copy of the Philip Dolly affair right in Joe's
Because I
guest suite.
keep that right by our bedside stand.
It's do you have plans to continue to write another book, or is there a second? Is there a follow-up to
Sequel.
something like this, a sequel?
Well, you know, we like to say that you can just follow the email and the public events and the newspapers, and there's always something new. But we'll probably see how this goes. I think, you know, Philip Dolly, like I say, he kind of ended up living in an apartment above a hardware store, but he might come back. He might be resurrected somewhere, you know. So
Open up a community college in like India or somewhere,
or Alaska.
or Alaska.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's is it enjoyable to write this? Does it get to be a chore to write? Do you have to be dedicated once you get into this?
Well, you know, just in terms of writing it, in that initial thing I was telling you about, that "Call Me Phil" thing, I kind of used an interior monologue, and I used italics for like thought bubbles and stuff. We did some things like that in the rest of the novel. It became kind of tedious and made editing, you know what I'm trying to say, and consistency difficult. The next time I write something, I'll probably be more consistent, more traditional in my approach. And like I said, we included a lot of song lyrics and poetry and kind of like pseudo letters to the editor in this, where we kept changing format and style. That became a little tedious, but we were quite satisfied with the project. But I've learned, and I tell my English comp students this, you know, when you write these things, when you feel inspired to write, just start writing and then come back and work on it later. But when you're moved, to let it go. And a lot of the pages, I think even some of the better pages written in this, were not planned. Now, I know you're a pretty successful writer yourself, and I don't know if you have that same feeling, but for me, a lot of times I write best when I'm not thinking about it too much, but then I've got to really come back and look at it.
It's a lot of times if I have something, if it starts in my head, and then I want to get to the computer or whatever I'm writing on, it's just to let it flow, and it's like all of a sudden it's there, and it really comes together. And but I've had a working title for something because a lot of what I'm doing is obviously press releases or short stories or features or those kind of things. And I've had this working title for 25 years of doing something. It's called Scenes from an Italian Family Too Stupid to Be in the Mob. It's about my Italian family. And I've had bits and pieces.
That sounds literary.
But it's never been, I can't get there. And I don't know, it's just busy. And there's times I want to cut things out of my life so I could sit there and do it. And I have moments of inspiration, but when you're doing it for your job, and it's a challenge.
Right, yeah. And I don't really. I mean, we've written this novel, and like I say, I would like to do some more writing like this. But it's a commitment. It's a creative commitment, and I'll probably go back to the trough again. I don't want to be a one-hit wonder, you know. But
One-hit wonders can make a lot of money.
That's right.
that'd be okay.
We got some more calls.
Yeah, Barbie lives in Coolidge, but is at Sky Harbor working right now. Doesn't have access to the internet. Said the book sounds fantastic. Looking forward to it. What does it cost, if you don't mind saying?
Oh, I think the download is $4.99.
Oh wow,
That's it?
reasonable.
Yeah, and I think the actual book is $10.
That's
a-
very.
it's
I mean,
paperback,
and it's a
it's-
nice big thick book too.
Yeah.
It's what I like about it. It's easy to pick up with one hand,
is.
and it's
It
just
opens well,
it's a
too.
user friendly style.
Right.
It's not like this typical small paperbacks or the big ones.
All right. The cover, I mean, the cover was designed by a lady named Mrs. G as our cover designer, and she came up with the idea of we like the image of the tango dance in the book. It's kind of a common theme, you know. The tango is rich in symbolic meaning, and there's a bar or a restaurant in this thing called the Copper Coin, and it's kind of the hangout for people. They go to the Copper Coin, you know, to have lunch and visit, and so you can see the 3 coins on here. And but she came up with this design of the tango dancers on the copper coin, and then on the back there's a picture of a head with a microchip in it, and that has a little something to do with the community college president, that microchip in the head, and the CIA and things. But I'll let you read the book.
Gotcha. You know what this book reminds me of? Have you ever seen the movie The Girl from Rio?
Yeah,
You have seen? You're kidding me.
yeah, I have.
Have you seen it?
No.
With Hugh Laurie, right?
Yeah, Hugh Laurie.
That's amazing. That's a total like B title that no one's ever seen.
Well, I like those.
You're the first one I've ever asked. You know what? That's a great movie.
Yeah.
There's some good B.
But the book reminded me of that with the dancers on the front.
There's some fascinating B movies that you go in and they turn out to be.
I love B movies. They're my favorites.
What's that? Tarantino? What's his? The producer.
Pulp Fiction.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. The
gotcha.
zombie movies and things.
Yeah, right. That didn't remind me of that. But
Sorry. but anyway, you know, the cover is reflective of the book, and we're kind of pleased with it. We always wondered what other people would think of it or how they would see it connected to the book, but this kind of gave me a little opportunity to speak to that.
Do any of your students that you've taught over the years, have they gone out and?
Yeah, I haven't really promoted it in-house too much. I've always kind of wanted it to come from the outside and have people. I think a number of the students and staff at our college have read it, and I know they have at Jan's school. And you know that most of them see themselves in it or some aspect of it, you know, in there. So,
Do any of your students have they gone on to publish anything, or is that an interest in at the community college level? Is there an interest? Today, you seem to be able to self-publish pretty easily compared to.
Right, it's the publishing industry. If I could talk about that for just a minute, if you want me to.
Yeah, well, actually, we have about a minute left.
But the publishing industry now allows for self-publishing. I have a couple of my friends, John Pattison, who's been very helpful to me. He has self-published a novel, and Allison Olson, who's another self-published novelist, and they've had some success doing that. They're very good writers. A couple of my students in the past have published novels. I'm not sure about self-publishing. There are a lot of avenues to getting your work published now. It's like getting music on the internet. You know, we're very fortunate and happy to have Rogue Phoenix Press work with us. They're a romance book publisher. Normally, they have some great romances if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But they also do science fiction and detective type things and mysteries. But it takes a lot of work to get things published sometimes. You gotta send out a lot of query letters.
Every author I've had on that has been and this is no joke, a New York Times bestseller author. That question always comes up, and every one of them has said, don't expect to get your first book published. Just keep sending tons and tons of requests in, and then eventually maybe you'll hit. So how did that happen? I know we're almost out of time here, but I'm curious. I mean, was it the first one you sent in got nailed?
No. We worked on about 6 to 8 months, probably sent out 100, 200 to both big names and small names, and usually got back very nice emails saying it didn't fit their publishing list or they'd done something similar. But Arlo and Christine are retired public school people, and their business is growing successful, and we appreciate their willingness to take a chance on something like this.
Very good.
You know, I might just say real quick, if I could just say one thing else. if you're interested in reading one of my poems, today on the Cronk News, CRONK News, and Leah Westcott is the editor. It's a terrific, it's the best satire site in America, I think, if you're interested in higher education satire. But they posted one of my poems, The Second Billing, which is kind of a takeoff on W.B. Yeats' The Second Coming, one of those famous poems. So you can read that. It's on the Cronk of Higher Education website. But thank you so much, fellas, for having me.
Well, we appreciate it. It's been a fascinating hour, and we look forward to seeing you out at SMC in 2 weeks and
All right.
with your band and playing. And
We'll be there.
Jeffrey Ross, The Philip Donnelly Affair, College Leadership Crisis. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it through Barnes & Noble, download it through your Kindles and Nooks. And
our publisher, Rogue Phoenix Press, you can order the print form.
Great. Jeff, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. It's a great hour. Next week, we're going to have the massage therapy back in and the program.
All
We had Scott Matthew on a couple weeks ago, and we're going to bring him back, and he's actually going to bring some of the former students that are out in the working world, and they're going to bring their massage equipment. Joe, you're going to get a massage on the air. So next week, that's from 10:30 to 11:30 on CAClive. For Jeff Ross, for Joe Carreiro, I'm Tom D. Camillo. We'll check you out next week on KQCK in the Santan Valley.
Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. CAC. Fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real